Right now, I want to share something that, when you truly grasp it, changes everything about how you live. It's deceptively simple, but not easy to accept. Nobody is thinking about you. Think about that awkward thing you said at work last week. You're convinced everyone still remembers. You believe they'll talk about it all week, maybe even all month. You check the group chat nervously. You avoid eye contact in the hallway. Your mind constructs elaborate scenarios where your mistake defines how everyone sees you. But here's what's actually happening. Right now, at this very moment, as your co-workers leave the office, they're not sitting around replaying your comment. They're not analyzing your mistake. They're thinking about their dinner plans, their struggling relationship, their own performance review. They're consumed by their own anxieties, their own shame, their own worries. This is what the ancient Stoics, the Greek and Roman philosophers who spent centuries studying the human condition, understood 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius, a man with absolute power over one of history's greatest empires, still struggled with this same fear. In his personal journal, which became Meditations, he repeatedly reminded himself that the judgments of others were irrelevant to his actual worth or his ability to live virtuously. He wrote about the marketplace gossip, the whispers, the petty judgments of crowds. And he kept returning to one truth: it's all noise. The real question was never what others thought. It was whether he was living according to reason and virtue. The curtain of anxiety in your mind is just a phantom. It feels real because your brain is wired to sense social threat. But the threat exists almost entirely in your imagination. When you finally grasp this, not intellectually, but feel it, you release an enormous amount of mental energy that's been trapped in a cage of anxiety. Suddenly, you're free to actually think about what matters. You're free to actually live. Why do we have this persistent delusion that everyone is constantly judging us? Why does our brain continuously construct scenarios where people are dissecting our every move? The answer lies in our evolutionary past. 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, being cast out from your tribe didn't just mean social embarrassment, it meant death. Without the group, you couldn't hunt, couldn't defend yourself, couldn't survive the winter. Social acceptance and tribal belonging literally determined whether you lived or died. So our brains evolved an exquisitely sensitive social monitoring system. We became obsessed with status, with how others perceived us, with our place in the hierarchy. This made sense in small, intimate communities where reputation affected your actual survival. The person who was hyper-aware of social signals, the one who couldn't stop thinking about what others thought, that person was more likely to maintain their status and stay alive. But we don't live in small tribes anymore. We live in cities of millions. We interact with thousands of strangers annually. We inhabit digital spaces where the judgment of anonymous people means absolutely nothing to our survival. Yet the gap between our ancient instinct and our modern reality creates endless, useless anxiety. We worry that one careless comment will make everyone permanently abandon us. We hold our breath before sharing an opinion because we fear judgment from people we'll never see again. We construct elaborate justifications for why we can't pursue certain dreams because of what people might think. Here's the liberating truth. Most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to spend significant mental energy on you. They don't have the cognitive bandwidth. A study by psychologists at Princeton found that people consistently underestimate how much others notice their flaws, what researchers call the spotlight effect. We feel like we're under a spotlight, when in reality, people are barely looking. Your fear of judgment is a glitch in an obsolete survival system. It was useful once, but now it's just holding you back. The first step to freedom is recognizing this pattern. The second step is letting it go. Ego is the master deceiver of the human soul. It works through contradiction and manipulation. First, it tells you that everyone is watching you, that you're constantly under scrutiny, that you must worry about being judged. Ego feeds on this anxiety because anxiety keeps you dependent on external validation. Every time you succeed and get praise, ego grows. Every time you fail and face criticism, ego shrinks and then desperately tries to fix itself through more people-pleasing, more performance. But ego also whispers the opposite lie, that you're more important than everyone else, that your struggles are unique, that the world revolves around you. This creates a strange paradox. You're simultaneously insignificant, everyone is judging, and overwhelmingly significant, everything you do matters. Both are traps. Epictetus, who wrote extensively on freedom and autonomy, distinguished between what lies within your control and what doesn't. He called this the dichotomy of control, and it's fundamental to understanding how to live without being enslaved by others' opinions. Within your control, your effort, your values, your character, your actions, your judgments, your thoughts, your intentions. Outside your control, other people's opinions, your reputation, your wealth, your status, your appearance to others, what happens to your body. This is crucial. Other people's judgments are not in your control, not even slightly. You can influence their opinions through your actions, but you cannot control what they think or feel. It's unpredictable, it changes, it's shaped by factors you can never fully understand, their mood that day, their biases, their own insecurities. So the question becomes, why would you waste your limited energy and attention on something completely outside your power? Ego wants you to believe it matters because ego thrives on external validation. It's starving for it. Ego is fed by two things, fear and desire. Fear of judgment keeps you hyper-alert to what others think. Desire for approval keeps you performing, striving, exhausting yourself trying to please an infinite and changing audience. These two emotions, fear and desire, make you a puppet of others' opinions. You become reactive instead of active. You become a vessel for other people's expectations instead of a vessel for your own values. A true Stoic sees through this. They understand that the only path to genuine freedom is to release, actively, deliberately, how others perceive you, not through carelessness or cruelty, not through becoming a sociopath who harms people while claiming, "I don't care what you think," rather through clarity about what actually matters. What actually matters is your character, your integrity, your discipline, your ability to act according to reason and virtue. These are internal. These are in your control. These are the only things that define you. When you stop desperately seeking others' approval, ego loses its primary weapon, the threat of shame. And when ego loses its power over you, something remarkable happens. You become free to think, free to act, free to actually become a full human being instead of a performer. This might sound cold at first, but sit with it. Freedom comes through a kind of indifference, not apathy toward people or ethics, but detachment from their judgment. Imagine doing something you've wanted to do for years but haven't because you feared what people would think. Maybe it's starting a creative project that feels frivolous. Maybe it's changing careers to something you actually love, but that looks worse on paper. Maybe it's expressing an unpopular opinion that you've thought deeply about. You'll feel the fear. That's normal. It's that ancient nervous system activating, the one that's convinced that social rejection equals death. But then something happens. You do the thing anyway, and you wait for the apocalypse. Nothing happens. Most people don't actually care, or if they do notice, they forget within days. They move on to their own dramas, their own problems, their own anxieties. They don't have a permanent grudge. They don't organize against you. They're too busy, or, and this is important, they actually respect you more for having the courage to do what you believe in. Authenticity is rare. Conviction is rare. Most people live their entire lives as performers, so when they encounter someone who isn't performing, they're drawn to it. This is what Seneca meant when he wrote in his Letters from a Stoic that we must learn to live as if no one is watching. He didn't mean become immoral or abandon ethics. He meant act from your actual principles, not from fear of exposure. Think about what you do differently when you know you're being observed versus when you think no one is looking. Most of us become more authentic when alone. We're more relaxed, more genuine, more creative. We follow our actual interests instead of the interests we think we're supposed to have. Seneca's wisdom is to collapse that distance. Live as your authentic self, whether anyone is watching or not. This isn't selfishness, it's integrity. The particular freedom that comes from understanding that you're allowed to be overlooked, unappreciated, even misjudged, that you can fail without it defining you. This is when life truly expands. You can try new things. You can experiment. You can fail quietly, learn quickly, and try again without your entire sense of self collapsing. This is the paradox. When you stop seeking approval, you become more admirable. When you stop performing, you become more authentic. When you stop fearing judgment, you become more interesting. The indifference is not a coldness, it's a liberation. Let's be brutally clear about something. You do not control what people think about you. That is not your domain. What you do control is the integrity, authenticity, and care you invest in your work, in your relationships, in your character. Write an article? You don't control whether it goes viral. You don't control whether people love it, hate it, or completely ignore it. But you control whether it's written with honesty. You control whether you're saying something you actually believe or something you think will get clicks. Share an opinion? You don't control whether people agree, whether they argue with you, whether they judge you as stupid or wise. But you control whether that opinion comes from genuine thought or from fear. You control whether you've actually thought it through or whether you're just parroting something that sounds good. Change careers. You don't control whether your family approves or whether society respects it. You don't control whether it works out financially, but you control whether your choice comes from authentic desire or from the desperate need to escape others' judgment. This is the deepest teaching of Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary when you actually apply it. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He reminded himself, you have power over your intentions only, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find freedom. When you truly embrace this principle, something shifts in how you work. Your output becomes better. Why? Because you're no longer distracted. You're not writing or building or creating something to apologize to strangers. You're not performing for an imaginary jury. You're creating what you actually believe needs to exist. You're not serving your work in a way you think people want. You're serving it in the way you know is right. And paradoxically, that integrity is more powerful than any attempt at crowd-pleasing. The research backs this up. Studies in psychology find that people can sense authenticity. We have mirror neurons that detect genuineness. When someone is being real with us, we respond to that. We trust it. We're drawn to it. The person who is genuinely trying to do good work, even if it's imperfect, will ultimately win more respect than the person who's perfectly polished but hollow. There's a massive chasm between living for acceptance and living with purpose. Most people never cross it. Someone governed by fear of judgment will constantly shift their choices based on external wins. They'll say things they don't actually believe to please people. They'll modify their appearance, their mannerisms, their interests, to match what they think others want. They'll choose a career that looks impressive on paper, instead of one that fulfills them. They'll stay in situations that harm them, because leaving would be embarrassing. This is not life. This is a performance that runs every single day, with you as the most exhausted audience member. A Stoic acts from a different place entirely. They begin by asking, what do I actually believe? What values define who I am? What kind of person do I want to become? Then they act accordingly, regardless of approval. This is not about becoming callous or brutal toward others. That's a misunderstanding of Stoicism. A Stoic is often more compassionate than average because they're not trapped in self-protective anxiety. They're free to actually pay attention to people around them. But they act from their principles, not from fear. When you make decisions this way, from clarity about your values rather than from anxiety about judgment, several things happen. First, you become more decisive. You don't waffle endlessly because you're not trying to predict every possible person's reaction. You think, you decide, you act. Second, your work becomes more powerful. This applies whether you're building a business, writing, creating art, or raising children. Work done with conviction is always more impactful than work done with apology. Third, and this will surprise you, people respect you more. Not everyone, certainly. Some people will judge you. But the people worth knowing, the people of substance and character, they recognize authenticity. They're drawn to it because it's rare. So here we are. The question is not theoretical anymore. It's practical. What are you going to do with this? Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, kept returning to one haunting theme. Time is short. You could leave life right now, he wrote. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He wasn't being morbid. He was being practical. When you truly internalize that your time is finite, that you might die in 5 years or 50 years, but you definitely will die, the priorities become clear. Do you want to spend your years anxious about what strangers think, or do you want to live? Here's the cold, liberating truth that takes time to feel in your bones. Nobody is thinking about you. That random person who glanced at you, they've already forgotten you. That colleague who disagreed with you, they're focused on their own problems. That family member who criticized you, they're dealing with their own shame. But you're thinking about you constantly, every day, probably every hour. You're living in your own head, replaying moments, constructing narratives about what people think. So the real question becomes, is what you're thinking about yourself worth thinking about? Do you respect yourself? Do you actually believe in the life you're building? Or are you building a life designed to impress people who aren't even paying attention? Here are 3 concrete things you can do this week. First, identify something you've wanted to do but haven't because you feared judgment. Write it down. Then ask yourself, is this actually wrong? Or is it just different? Is it actually harmful? Or is it just unconventional? Often, you'll realize the only thing stopping you is fear of appearing odd. Second, notice when you're performing versus when you're being authentic. Just notice. Don't judge yourself. During conversations, are you saying what you actually think, or are you saying what you think the other person wants to hear? At work, are you doing what you believe is right, or what makes you look good? This awareness alone is powerful. Third, do one small thing this week that you know you'd do if you knew nobody would ever find out. It doesn't have to be big. It could be admitting you don't understand something instead of pretending. It could be pursuing a hobby you've been hiding. It could be saying no to something instead of yes. Just one thing that's genuinely you. Because here's what happens when you start living this way. Life becomes lighter. The anxiety doesn't disappear overnight, but it begins to loosen its grip. Decisions become easier. Work becomes more enjoyable. Relationships become more real. Because you're finally present instead of calculating how you're being perceived. Not because people suddenly love you. Not because judgment disappears. But because you finally love yourself. And that love, that acceptance of yourself, that's the only approval that actually matters. This is the Stoic way. Not perfection, not becoming unfeeling, but becoming free enough to actually live. The ancient Stoics knew something we've largely forgotten. There's a profound peace that comes from releasing the need for external validation. It's the most practical wisdom they left us, and it's waiting for you, right now. The only question is, are you ready to let go?